Hi everyone, let's go over my medium time frame, low time frame and micro bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin. Starting with the medium time frame bearish scenario where we're looking for a WXY to the downside with inside the final wave Y, again a 3-wave structure in a WXY. Now waves and KG, we're talking about this scenario in the group, which is the reason I like to cover it as well. This is the chart of waves that he posted in the group and this is the chart of KG that he posted in the group, so you can stop the video and check these out. Now, the problem that we all face with this particular scenario is that wave X is very short in time. So you can see the fib times on the chart, the vertical lines over here taken from the high to the low of W to compare the length of W with the length of this wave X. And this wave X is even shorter than the 0.236 fib time. Usually waves have a minimum relationship of the 0.382, but of course this high of wave X didn't even come close to the 382. So that's a little thing to at least keep in mind. But in this scenario then wave X is finished and we are looking at a most likely double zigzag then to the downside in an ABC zigzag complex structure, and then another ABC zigzag to the downside, where for the green wave Y, most common target between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236, which is between 23.7k and 22.6k, and for the blue wave Y, it's mainly the 1-to-1 and 1.236 in blue, which is 24.4k and 23.7k. What I actually don't like about the fact that we have overlap between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236 is that it is in between my target areas, like the support areas. There's not really any great support here right in between, and the yellow target box is between 24.850 and 24.3k, and the blue one is between 22.6k and 21.8k. So that feels like a little bit of an alternative scenario at the moment, but still, if we then zoom in and we go to the 1 hour, then over here what we're looking for is again, right, a W short X and then a wave Y. So a short X, even though it is very unlikely, it can still be possible. And then we're looking for like a double zigzag. So we then have a W, we have an X, and then we're looking for a wave Y to the downside in this particular scenario, where if we look more locally and we then pull a fib from the high, trend-based fib extension fib, from the high to the low of W to the high of wave X over here of this 0.5, then the most common target for the wide wave Y is at the bottom of the yellow target box, with the 1-to-1 having overlap with that yellow target box. And that's actually very nice. That's something I do like to see. Now over here yesterday we were looking for this target box to be hit, as I'll explain on the micro, but yeah, WXY with most likely X then already finished, hitting the 0.5, a common target for wave X, and then we're looking for a downside in a wave Y, where the rare target for wave Y is the 1.618, but actually you don't really want to see it cross the 1.236, as then lower prices are expected, with the more blue target box being potentially the next target. And in the micro bearish scenario that we covered last like yesterday, when price was still ranging over here, where we said, well, you know, even though we made a high over here, I prefer the high of this wave Y over here. So again, a WXY, there's a lot of complex stuff going on the chart. So over here, what we're looking at, by the way, is then a W zigzag, another zigzag X, and then eventually again a zigzag in a wave Y to the upside. And I was saying, mentioning that I prefer the high to be made between the 0.618 and the 1-to-1. Now, eventually price moved up. It hit the target area, which is what we were looking for. This area over here at around, what was it, 26.4k. Price moved up, very high volume, of course, because of the news. Bam, moved to the downside. Beautiful. So that was actually very nice. Now, the 1-to-1 for this wave Y, interestingly, the 1-to-1 over here hasn't been hit. We did have some resistance over here with the weekly naked point of control. And actually, the 1-to-1 for wave Y was just above, taken from the low to the high of W to the low of X. Unless you potentially take the low of X, this one over here, like the actual low, then you can see that price does it's still not hit. Actually, I didn't check it before the video, but yeah, it's still not hit. So actually this wick over here didn't hit the most common target area for a wave Y, or at least the 1-to-1 to the 1.236, but the 0.618 is also a common target for wave Y, and usually I'm looking at this whole area for a target of wave Y, so it can still be valid for the high then of wave Y. And also, I explained in the Silver Updates group over here, the relevancy of what just happened when price was hitting that target box. So I said, hey, we hit the blue target box, followed by quite a rejection. And I got a question as well, where if this is only the first structure of a wave Y, and then you expect a second structure and a third one, is that possible? Like this being the first A or B and then C and then the end of wave Y. And I had a particular answer for this one. So this is educational for you guys, right? Where I said if this is only the first wave of a wave Y, it's very high, as it has almost hit the 1-to-1, right? It almost hit this target for a wave Y. Now from the low of X to the target box might be a zigzag structure on the lower time frames to then finish wave Y between the 0.618 and the 1-to-1 fib time, which is what we were looking for. And that is also this area over here, right? That's what we were looking for over there. So I said, considering time, wave Y compared to wave W and how high this move went to the target box, I prefer wave Y to be finished in the more bearish scenario where we expect continuation to the downside. If price goes back up to the target box, it is likely more bullish. So in this particular scenario, this wave Y ending between the 0.618 and the 1-to-1 fib time, comparing wave W with wave Y, is actually very nice. Price going down again in a three-wave structure and then move up once more in a three-wave structure means this wave Y is going to be very, very long in time compared to wave W. And so far, I would prefer this to be the high of a wave Y. If price is going to move and continue towards the upside and reach the target box again, it might be more bullish, where potentially the next target can then be the double top that we have at 26.8K. If we then zoom out once more and have a look at the bullish scenarios through the different time frames, then first of all, let's start on the medium time frame, where we are then looking at, again, a WXY to the downside, but then we are still looking for a B higher up. So we have a WXY, that's the same, but then we are not looking at the end of a three-wave structure over here, with wave X in the bearish scenario already being finished, so potentially wave B already being finished, but we're looking for a bigger wave B, and then a wave A to the downside, a three-wave B, and then a C towards the downside. So we give this wave B a little bit more time to form compared to wave A, which might work better. And then in this scenario, the most common target area is this white box over here. Now the 0.618 has been hit, and yeah, it also has been hit over here, by the way, but then a potential 1, 2, and then a bigger 3 is already invalidated because this low has been taken on some exchanges, and that is why we're looking for still a bit more downside to come, either like this or either like this, of course, where if we then go to the low time frame scenario, what I'm looking for here is that we have then this as a wave W, right? A short move to the upside, but we're still looking for an extended wave B, right? We want to have a longer B in time. That's what we're looking for. So then we have a W, an X, and then eventually we're looking for a Y to the downside. And in this particular wave Y, the 0.618 is a target sitting at 26.6K, as well as the 1-to-1 and the 1.236 sitting at 27.4K and 27, or basically 28K, which is just below the target box that we have at 28K as well. And in this scenario, what is interesting is that this can be only the first structure, then we have potentially a second structure and then a third structure in potentially an expanded flat scenario, which is a 3, 3, and then a 5-wave move to the upside, which could then be the end of wave Y. I do have to say that this structure is starting to become quite long in time. Like this W, of course, was very short in time. This wave X was relatively long, and if we take a fib time from the beginning of X to the end of X and we compare, then you can see that currently wave Y almost already hit the 1-to-1 compared to this wave X. So if we want to see another move down, another move up, it's starting to become a long, like, you know, wave Y is starting to become quite long in time. So preferably, if we are looking for a wave Y, maybe we are not waiting for a move down in an expanded flat, but we are potentially looking at something like this, where potentially the 0.618 might be the target of interest together with this double top at 26.8K for then a move towards the upside, reach the liquidity, and then continue towards the downside. And that is also, again, what I'm looking for. If we're going to the upside and reach this target box once more, then this is definitely an area of interest for potentially then further downside. And then that's also the micro bullish scenario. Then finally, the CVD. We do have CVDs going on. When price was dropping over here, Cloud in MM in the group actually saw the bullish divergences as well over here. Bullish CVD divergences, where the target is then this high. But I prefer, especially after such a strong move and a move to the downside, I want to see local support. So this is great and nice, bullish CVD divergences. We also had bullish CVD with the lows and a higher low over here. So higher low on price, lower low on CVD. But after such a drop and a new high to be made, I like to see local bullish CVD divergences, which is also what we got in the middle of my night. I actually just got home from my speaking gig when price was here, but I didn't check the chart. So we then had to move up, move down, created bullish divergences locally, and that's what I like to see, because I don't really like to trust this one. I trust this one a lot more, and it has played out here as well, which is very nice. And on the chart over here, the AGGR chart, CVD chart, you can see higher low on price, but over here, lower low, on the CVD. Red candle, CVD, this one is the one, right? Lower low on the CVD. So high low on price, lower low on the CVD more locally, which is a bullish divergence. And if I zoom out, you can see a clear bullish divergence then as well. Higher low on price, lower low over here on the yellow CVD, as well as, let me check, maybe the blue CVD as well. Not the blue CVD, not yet. So we have to wait and see what then forms more locally over here, as price is just ranging for now. Then finally, we have news coming up today as well. News, let's see this one. So at 2:30 p.m. and also at 8 p.m. Central East European time, as well as 8:30, by the way, we have news. High volatility expected. Make sure you trade safe around those hours. I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the memberships. Also, we do altcoins and stuff, and also the most recent educational video I've made about the best trading indicator you can use, in my opinion, which is the CVD. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye bye.